So this data set is called dice weights by color. And what I did is I bought 1,000 dice from Amazon and different colors, and I weighed them all in grams. So I have 1,000 dice in a data set with their colors and weights listed. So this data set, I'm going to say it's my population of dice. Okay, so we have a population here. And let's say that we want to take a random sample from this population. So in StatCrunch, it's really easy to do. You're going to go to the data menu and then go down to sample. And you pick which column you want to take the sample from. And if you want to pick both columns, you can. And you tell it the sample size. Let's say we want to take 25 dice from the sample. Or let's just take one sample, and we'll click compute. And it randomly picks 25 dice. It gives us the color, and it gives us the weight, and it tells us that it's the sample, right? You could, let's go back to this data sample menu. You could take multiple samples at one time. So let's say I just wanted the weights. Let's say I wanted sample size of 25, but I wanted to do this 100 times. It will take 100 samples of size 25 randomly. If you go down to the bottom, you have the option to open this in a new data table, which might be useful here since we're going to take 100 samples. So if I click this option and compute, I get a new window and I get 100 samples of size 25. Right? So let's go back to the original. If I choose the sample option again, let's say I want color this time, and I'm going to do size 25. I'm going to do 100 samples again. You have other options in terms of how you want the random sampling to happen. So let's say you're a teacher and you want all your students to get the exact same samples, then you would use a fixed seed, and you would have all the students pick the same number for their seed. So every random sampling algorithm has to have some kind of starting number, and then you get your randomly generated values from that. I always use dynamic seed, and it's just an extra layer of randomness there. But definitely, if you're in class, you want all the students to get the same samples, then use fixed seed. You can, you just need to look at the different options here. So let's click compute on this one, and it opened in a new data table. You see that now I've just got the colors in random samples. Okay. If you are, if you don't like what happened and you want to go back, you can always undo. So here I can undo add columns, and those samples go away. So let's talk about how to take a stratified sample. So I don't just want to take just a simple random sample. I want to sample from each color. So my data set has 4 colors. I've got white, black, red, and blue dice. Let's say I want to take, 20 random dice from each color. So how would I do that? So under the data menu, there's another option called a range, and I'm going to split my data. So I want to split the weights by color and open this in the new data table. So what this is going to do is it's going to give me the weights by color, and they're going to be separated in different columns. So I'll click compute. And here I've got black, blue, red, and white dice. I have their weights in a data set, there's different number of each dice. There's more black than blues. So now I want to take a sample of size 20 from each column. So I'm going to go to data sample, and I'm going to pick all the columns. If I want to pick more than one, I can hold down control and select them individually, or you could just do control A and it'll select them all. I'm going to take a sample of size 20 from each column. And when I click compute, I get my samples here. Now, if I wanted to combine them back together, into a single column, a single sample, I can go back to arrange, and I'm going to stack them. So I'm going to click the sample columns, and I'm just going to click compute, and it tells me which color each one came from, right? But it stacks all of these together in a single data set. So that would be your stratified sample. We took a random sample of 20 of each color, and then you could leave them split apart, but here you can also put them back together.